Hello, it's Candace Casey. It is approximately 10:20 p.m. on September 23rd. Um, in a little less than a week from now, I have what I believe is supposed to be my final court date regarding my son, Nicholas Andrew Casey. I spoke briefly during my last video about the fact that I have every reason to believe that my disability has fueled a great deal of the department's complaint against myself. Um, there's a mountain of evidence that indicates that from the beginning of our case, actually even before my son was born, Mariposa County expected me to fail as a parent. They expected me to be incapable of parenting based on what they observed that I could do, but based on what perhaps they felt they would be limited at doing if they were in my shoes. I find this very ironic because, in all honesty, my entire life, my family has burned it into me to never, ever use my disability as an excuse for not being able to accomplish anything, to never use my disability as a crutch, and to never claim that, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that, because there are plenty of things that a person who may not have every limb can do. One of my heroes is Nick Vujicic, and he is a minister and a public speaker. He has no arms, he has no legs. And to me, this guy is amazing because he does not allow what other people would perceive to be his limitations to keep him from living his life to the fullest. Over a year ago, I read his book, Life Without Limits, and it changed my life for the better. It's true that I had some struggles when I was younger regarding body image, regarding, the natural, normal things that every teenager would go through. And it's true that I allowed those things to keep me down for a very long time. But after my son was born, something in me changed. Ironically, I named my son Nicholas as well. Not after this person that I'm telling you about, because I hadn't heard of him at that time. Nicholas happened to be my husband's name at birth because my husband, Jonathan James Casey, was adopted, and he found out when he was 15, when he had his third open heart surgery, that his birth name was Nicholas Moreno Glass. So we named our firstborn son Nicholas Andrew Casey. Nicholas after Jonathan, Andrew being my great-grandfather's name and my Uncle Roger's middle name. My Uncle Roger is the man who raised me, and he passed away the same year that Jonathan and I got married. But my uncle instilled in me a sense that I could accomplish anything that I put my mind to, regardless of what others perceive my limitations to be. I remember once when I was very young, I was about 16, and I wanted a bookcase to put all my books in because I loved to read, and I could never have anywhere to put my books. My uncle, who was an independent contractor, offered to take me to the lumber yard and get some wood and show me how to make a bookcase. And that sort of blew my mind because I had never built anything in my life, and I'm not exactly inclined in, the direction of carpentry or anything like that. But it was really cool. And the purpose of me saying these things is my mother didn't have either of her arms. And CPS has made a lot of speculation on the fact that my mother didn't raise me, forgetting that, I was born in the 80s for one thing. For another, my mother was very severely mentally ill, much more than I was, because back then it was sort of taboo to even mention mental illness and to even, it's taboo now, but not like it was then. My mother did not know of her mental illness, which was schizophrenia, until I was a toddler and she was in her 20s. She didn't know. But I do know that my mom would not have fit the stereotype of a disabled woman by anyone's standards. My mother cooked and cleaned. She sewed. My mother volunteered at my school. My mother did 1,000 things that other people would have thought, oh, if I were in her shoes, I would be too embarrassed to do. Well, maybe there's a reason why certain individuals are given less, because inside they have more. Inside, maybe some of us, and I'm not saying that I'm more special than another person, but I used to look at my friends funny when I was a teenage girl, and they would tell me, I don't know how you put up with, you handle not having the other arm, because if I were you, I'd want to kill myself. Well, then thank God it's not you that had this problem with me, because honestly, it's not that big a deal to me. Maybe if I were someone else and I wasn't used to it, it would be a big deal. But when you're born that way, there's really nothing to get used to. There's nothing that's going to shock you and surprise you. People asking you questions isn't a big deal. And I honestly wish that more people would be educated regarding these things, because there would be a lot less, I don't know, painful litigation in the sense of children being removed from their parents due to someone else's ignorance.